Liverpool's pre-season started with more of a bump than a bang over in Bangkok. Will things be smoother second time out in Singapore? The Reds face Crystal Palace today. The two sides will be competing for the Standard Chartered Singapore Trophy. The action gets underway at 1:35 UK time, 8:35 in the evening local time. And it's live on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. Yeah, if you're not yet an LFC TV or Go subscriber and you want to see the action from Singapore and the Reds' remaining pre-season games, then head over to liverpoolfc.com/watch for more information. Subscription is required, T's and C's apply. And if you are going to sign up for the game, please do try to get signed up early. We don't want you to wait till just before kickoff or to miss any of the action. Do it now and do it early. Well, Gary Gillespie and Jan Molby are my guests in the studio today. We'll hear from the boys very shortly. But first, let's bring you the breaking team news from over at the stadium. The Reds line up as follows then. It's Adrian in goal, the back four of James Milner, Ibu Konate, Joel Matip and Kostas Tsimikas. It'll be Jordan Henderson, Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott in midfield. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Luis Diaz and Bobby Firmino as the front three. No Alisson, Gomez, Jota, Hill or Frauendorf today. All those are absent with Knox. OK, let's head over to the National Stadium in Singapore and to Peter McDowell, who's in the company of Jason McAteer and Luis Garcia.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Welcome to the National Stadium again here in Singapore, where the Liverpool team trained last night. All going to be done for real against Crystal Palace here in the next half hour or so. And team selection-wise, Lewis, it's a stronger team than played Manchester United.
Yeah, it looks very strong. Fantastic to see Curtis and Elliott in the middle. We were talking about in the open training yesterday. It looks like they're going to be the team that we saw here in this side right behind us in the first 20 minutes. And let's see how it goes. Once again, it's not only about fitness-wise. Now you're going to try to get a little bit more. You're going to try to express yourself, show things. You are in front of a big, massive crowd, and of course, try to continue working the pattern of play that we saw yesterday.
The session last night was intense, wasn't it? And a reflection on that, you know, this team will play slightly longer. He thinks, Jurgen Klopp, that they're at least able to play 45 minutes, most of them tonight.
No reason why they won't. Listen, the players want to play as well. You know, you'd rather be on there working out rather than running around a track or doing a real intense session for 2 hours. So I'm sure the lads would like to get their 45 minutes under the belt, but also score a few goals, get a bit of confidence. You know, the Manchester United, listen, you know, we're not making excuses, but they were 10 days ahead. You know, with Liverpool, they've only been back a couple of days, and it's, you know, the fitness showed, but that would have hurt them. You know, still mentally that would have been a bit of a dig for them. So they'll want to get a good result as well, more minutes under the belt. And listen, what's not to like playing here? It's going to be full of Liverpool fans. The pitch looks great, it's warm, nice.
The pitch that you see, by the way, at the moment will be taken up after the game because Billie Eilish and Justin Bieber. Is it Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber, yeah.
Justin Bieber on the 2 weeks.
If you want to come back.
On the guest list again.
I'm on the guest list.
How much importance do forward players place on scoring in these games? We saw Pep and the manager very close to Darwin Nunez, didn't we, last night, almost explaining, you know, this is a slightly different run to the one they used to, but he got it, didn't he? And by the end of it, he was looking very sharp. But he'll want a goal, will he, tonight, do you think?
No, definitely. It's what you're looking for, to put out that pressure, because you arrive here and he knows what it comes to arrive to Liverpool. It's been a big pay for him. That is an extra pressure. So what you want is to start scoring as soon as possible to try to release a little bit that pressure. And for you to get confident, to show the teammates that you are here because you are a good player. But it's not only about him. You got players around. They're going to try to do exactly the same. Try to help you to adapt to the team as soon as possible. Try to give you those balls that you need, because it's not that you arrive here and you're on your own. You are players who are going to try to help you because they know that he's going to be a key player for Liverpool next year.
You like what you've seen so far of him, Darwin Nunez?
I haven't seen enough, to be honest. I mean, he come on, you could see the energy he was trying to bring, you know, to his performance the other night. And listen, he's only a young kid. He's trying to impress. He's trying to show the manager, I'm going to do all the closing down. And after 5 minutes, he was like that. He was like, so you can understand that it just caught up with him straight away. He'll adapt. He'll find his fitness. He's, like I said, they're behind at the minute, but they'll catch up. Listen, it's all about August the 6th. It's all about August the 6th, and he'll be ready. He looked a little bit sharper. last night in training. He got himself a couple of goals and that. His movement was good. As you said, Pep and Jurgen were working intensely with him, you know, when to start the press, and we explained that last night. You know, when you play for a different club, your tactics and your philosophy are different than what they are here. So he's got to believe and trust his teammates that when he goes, they're all behind him, you know, backing him up on the press. So yeah, we'll see him tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
A real blow for Diogo Jota, isn't it? A muscle injury on top of the muscle injury that he already had, and you know, we spoke about the importance of pre-season that isn't disrupted by injury, and you know, he too has looked really sharp in the sessions.
Yeah, exactly, because here is where you get the full fitness for the whole season. Not because it's not important only you have to show to the manager that you want to be involved, but it's very difficult during the season to get these 2-3 weeks of hard work, of intensity, of running, because during the year, we mentioned a few times, you don't have time to train because you got a game in 2 days, you got another game and you could travel. So it's very, very important, and they know that these 3 weeks is going to pay him a big time for the rest of the season. So hopefully we can see him at the last part of the pre-season. He can start running because season is almost starting. It's right by the corner, and he has to be ready for it.
Also, might have knocked his confidence a little bit, Nunez coming in. Obviously Sadio going, you know, he might have thought that's more game time for me. Firmino, maybe his levels have dropped off a bit, so he's maybe looking at that central position. Then we go and spend 70 odd million on Darwin Nunez. He's thinking, am I going to get in the team? And like Lewis said, pre-season, these games are when you're going to show the manager what you're capable of doing, and you know, he doesn't get that opportunity because he's injured, sadly, and you know, it would have knocked him. I seen him today. He looked quite sad, actually. He looked quite sad, but I'm sure he'll get up to speed, and he'll have a lot to offer next season. He'll play a lot of football.
OK, well, as you can hear, we're fighting the PA system inside here. You can tell that they're used to concerts. We're really looking forward to the game. Talk a little bit about Crystal Palace and the season ahead when we come back.
Yeah, that's what the lads at pitchside think of how the boss plans to start the game. Let's hear from him now. Jurgen Klopp has been speaking to Pete.
It's gone very quick. Jurgen, how have you found this pre-season tour this year?
Yeah, good so far, all good. But because we are here as well to play football games, and so now it's an important one in Crystal Palace. We see them, I think, in 4 or 5 weeks again in the Premier League. Didn't see the lineup yet of them, but yeah, it will be interesting. And for us, it's just important that we make the next step. We trained now twice since we played against United. Really good sessions, and of course, you want to see then the next step.
In terms of the team, you've got a couple of knocks that you're carrying, aren't you, at the moment, and the plan for the team tonight, will we see another set of half an hour or slightly longer for players?
Yeah, we have a group of players the first half, then we have maybe 2 players who can play the full second half, but the rest we will change again. So we just have to be really sensitive with these kind of things. We have already injuries which we couldn't avoid, was no chance. But Diogo is out, and Ali will not play, and these kind of a few young boys with very little things which we just don't take any risk. But that's how pre-season is. You have to deal with all the different situations, and tonight you will see this is the solution for tonight.
With Joe, is that a concern, and Jota too?
No, Diogo is a concern. With Diogo is muscle again. With Joe, no. Joe is just precaution. No, not any kind of risk take. It's worth it, whatever. He's really good in the pre-season so far. So he felt a little bit here and there, and then we said, okay, then he's out. But Ali is not cool as well. So will not be too long. But each day Ali is not involved is already too long, to be honest.
Where the positives are concerned, you love Austria, don't you, or Evian, wherever it tends to be. You get that chance in the not-too-distant future now to prepare the players, training double sessions each day.
Yeah, it will be completely different, obviously. That's now our real training camp. So we have, and coming home to Liverpool, obviously, we can train there perfectly as well. So when we come home, then we will have double sessions in Liverpool as well. Really important that we can get now rhythm immediately. We can put intensity in, because here we are. The weather is one problem. It's not a real problem. It makes the pre-season even a bit more intense, which is fine. But when we come home, we don't have to do appearances, all these kind of things. So we can concentrate on football, and that's what we will do. So for the next 2 weeks after we come home, we have time to prepare until Manchester City, then another week to prepare for Fulham. And then, yeah, here we go.
Thanks, boss. Good luck.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, pal.
Thoughts of the boss there on today, and also what lies ahead in terms of pre-season in the coming weeks. Again, in terms of the team he's picked, obviously a few notable absentees. No Alisson, Adrian gets a rare opportunity to pull on the gloves again. What do you make of the team that he's started with today, albeit, as he just confirmed to Pete, it will chop and change through the course of the game?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he's put a great deal of thought into what players are starting. I think it's just important to get every player as many minutes as possible, although some people would think that looks quite strong. But when you look at the game the other day, the 11 that played that final 30 minutes was also quite strong, wasn't it? So because we've got so many players, one or two of the lineups will have to be particularly strong, and this is a strong lineup. There's a couple of players already in that lineup where you think they are very, very close to being what we call match fit already.
Yeah, and some notable big hitters amongst these subs as well, should he want to call them in that second half, like Mo Salah, of course, in the mix, as he was in the last game, to come on later on. Gary, in terms of what we saw in the first of the pre-season games, what do you make it on reflection of the Manchester United performance?
Well, I think it was littered with individual mistakes, which sometimes that's what happens in pre-season. You're not just quite ready, and I think that's, I think you could look right throughout the course of the three different teams, not quite ready. A little bit 6s and 7s at the back early on. But that's the things that you've got to sort out in pre-season, and I'm sure that's what they'll be aiming to do and get adjusted, and obviously the fitness as well. I think Jason mentioned it there that Manchester United were 10 days ahead of us. I didn't really see that so much tonight in fitness level, but Liverpool did look a little bit ragged early on.
You mentioned those individual errors in the Manchester United game. What is that down to? Is it down to changes in personnel? Is it players not used to playing with each other? Is it a lack of rhythm from not playing, or a mix of all those things?
Well, it's all of these things, especially early on in pre-season. This is your first game. Obviously nerves as well. A lot of commentators. There was a few youngsters in there playing for the first time, and it's not knowing really the personnel. You're not playing an awful lot with them. Your own position. But as I say, it was just individual errors on the night, and this is what happens. Even in pre-season games, the quality that Man United do possess, they can punish you, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, you can see there, Liverpool were all over the place because they were kind of like pushing forward willy-nilly kind of thing, and there was no kind of structure. I think it's a case like go out there, get your fitness, run about, get the minutes under your belt, but then somewhere along the line you've got to have a little bit more structure, and I'm sure that'll be happening in the 6 days after the end of the game at Singapore.
Yeah, I think we'll see a bit more structure and positional discipline when the season starts for
Absolutely,
real.
Yeah.
In terms of the players, the new additions, Carvalho's come in. What have you made of that addition? It seems like a smart bit of it. It's a really talented young football with a good amount of experience under his belt for his years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He played a lot of games last season in the Championship and did really well. I like him. Instant is things you see. He played 30 minutes the other day and he did okay. But there's certain things you look and you go, but you can see why Liverpool are attracted to him. You can exactly see what his qualities are. He's very light on his feet. He sees things early. He wants to play forward, and himself, he also wants to get into those areas where the opposition hate him to be, isn't it? So how much he's going to play this year, I don't know. I don't even think the club knows that. I don't think Klopp knows that. But I think everybody's quite excited about him. He looks a really, really good young player.
And the good thing is he knows English football. He speaks English fluently because he's effectively kind of almost half English as it is. He also knows Harvey Elliott well from their time coming through at Fulham. So they'll link up well. And also you expect this to be a big season for Harvey Elliott after his stop-start campaign last time.
Yeah, I think, when you go back to the beginning of last season, Harvey Elliott, I think he played something like the first 3 or 4 games and really looked the part. And it looked really as if he was going to have a big season ahead of him. And then obviously that unfortunate injury that happened at Leeds really set him back. But he's a live wire. He belies his age, to be quite honest with you. Not just his football ability, but his brain as well. I think he's a quick thinker. And hopefully he'll have a really good season, because I think there's no doubt in his quality. And when you've got youngsters like him and Carvalho, I think it all bodes well for the future for Liverpool.
Yeah, such a positive mindset as well. Always looks to be sharp and deals with any of the pressures that come his way during games. OK, well, we just spoke about Harvey Elliott. Let's now hear from him. Pete caught up with him a few minutes ago.
Well, this pre-season tour, Harvey, almost at an end. How have you found it?
It's been, I think, a brilliant experience, firstly, to come to these different countries, come so far away from England to see the fans and just how much we're loved around the world. I mean, on top of that, we're playing games against great teams, and training on great pitches in new stadiums, new training grounds. So, I mean, yeah, it's just crazy to be out here, and it's been an enjoyable trip so far, and hopefully we can top off today with a win.
You've looked really sharp in the sessions. Are you getting that feeling back now that you're almost ready?
Yeah, definitely. I think I needed a sort of break in a way, just to refresh myself, to obviously keep working on things I need to improve on, and keep working on myself, and obviously my injury and stuff, just to keep myself going. But yeah, I feel back to normal now, and I feel back to how I was before my injury. So, I mean, yeah, it's just all experiences for myself that I can take into this season, just getting myself back to normal and making sure I'm 100% physically and mentally, which I feel now, and I feel perfectly fine. So, yeah, I'm just excited for what the season brings. I'm very looking forward to it.
You spoke about Fabio already in terms of how he's settled in. What about Darwin Nunez? How's he looking in the sessions and getting used to the way you play?
Yeah, he's been brilliant, to be fair. He's a top player as well as a top guy for all that we can conversate in. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool and the fans will slowly see, and the world will see why we brought him in. As I said, he's a great player, and he showed that against us. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what he can bring this season. We're all looking forward to seeing him play and getting him involved in the boys and in the team. And yeah, I'm sure he can show the world why we signed him. And yeah, he's a great guy as well as a top player.
Good luck for the game, mate.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Just a quick reminder, if you're not yet an LFC TV or Go subscriber and you want to see the action from Singapore, then head over to liverpoolfc.com/watch. Do it now, do it early to make sure you don't miss any of the action. Subscription is required, T's and C's apply. We should turn our attention to our opponents, Crystal Palace, a team we of course beat twice last season. They've seen a little bit of chopping and changing to their squad, but still some of the players who impressed last season are amongst the group. The lineup as follows today. Some names we will recognise. Nathaniel Klein in the mix, of course, familiar because he was formerly of this parish. Yeah, what did you make of Palace last season?
I thought they had a good season. In terms of points, it was pretty much what we normally see from Palace, but I just thought the way that they played, and I think they've been looking for this for a couple of years to get it more of a consumer-friendly way of playing, more energy into their team, and I think they've done really well with some of the players that they bought, some of the younger players, and brought some real class to the team. So I think potentially Palace's aim this year is probably get into the top half of the table, and maybe another cup run, which they did last year, semi-final of the FA Cup, isn't it? But I think Vieira's done a really good job, and as I said before, they've got some really good young players.
I think that's his task, isn't it? That's the difficulty, isn't it? Taking them to that next level. It could easily slip, but you could easily see them going up and being certainly in the top 10 quite comfortably.
Yeah, some of the bright, sharp players like Theresians have not involved in that starting lineup, but still guys like Mateta in who got stronger as the season went on, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the players that are missing, and instantly you see the ones who can really hurt you, you know, especially in turnovers and in counter-attacks, and Esse and Olise and Wilfred Zaha, isn't it? But they've still got good players. They'll still play. It's a bit like Liverpool the other day. They won't compromise in the way that they play. You know, they've now introduced themselves into a high-pressing game, and they'll play like that today. Although the quality of what they bring is maybe not what we'll see when they get into the Premier League. But no, I like them as a team.
Albeit these are games being played across the other side of the world, is there a use in playing Premier League opposition? Because you know the standard of the players know each other, so, I don't know, it either G's you up a bit more or gives you a standard to work to.
Yeah, I think it gives you an idea of where you are. I think if you were listening to Patrick Vieira's interviews before this match, he was talking about, he knows exactly what Liverpool are all about and where they will be come the end of the season, and he obviously expects them to be at the top of the table. So playing against a Liverpool side, he kind of like knows where to pitch it and like where to pitch his team after like their performance. But again, like it boils down to personnel. The personnel that's starting for Crystal Palace won't be the personnel that starts, I'm sure, in the first game of the season. I think it's Arsenal they play, but it gives them an indication just where they are and what they're about this season. But as I say, the players to come in, they would make a massive difference for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and this is a Crystal Palace that, as you touched upon, they're on the up as well. You know, there was good recruitment last year, not just the offensive players, but even guys like Joachim Andersen, Marcus Gay came in that centre half, albeit Gay's not playing from the off today, but solid, good additions to the group.
It's what we call modern-day centre-halves, isn't it? So when Roy Hodgson was there, we knew how they played. They defended really deep with people who would defend the area. Now we got younger centre-halves who squeeze up. They're part of the press. They're quite happy for it to be a load of green grass for people to run into behind, because they trust with their ability to read the game and also with their pace that then they can recover. And I keep coming back to it, but when Palace were at their best last year, whether it was the Arsenal game when you won 3 or whatever, when they were good, they were really, really good. So I expect them to have a really good season again.
Yeah, on the day they can really shine. They showed that last campaign. OK, let's head back to the National Stadium over in Singapore now, and to the lads back down pitch side.
Welcome back to the National Stadium, joined by Vladimir Smeitzer for this one tonight. And I know we talk about pre-season friendlies all the time, don't we, and their importance, but the Manchester United defeat hurt a couple of the players the other night. They want to put that right quickly.
Yeah, I think so. I think today we will play a little bit different game. We will be like practically at home because all the fans are already here. It's like I feel like a home game. I think the lads, they will feel it, and they would like to show a different face against Crystal Palace tonight.
I know that they don't matter, Jason, the great scheme of things, results, but like I say in there, the players are frustrated by the way it went, even though it was 3 separate teams.
A lot of people do read into the results. I mean, I was reading something the other day, actually. Van Gaal, when he was at United, didn't lose a pre-season game and then started the season and lost first game to Swansea. So, you know, it is all about the fitness. It's getting in the bank for the long season that lies ahead. The manager will know his starting team. He wants to keep away from injuries, obviously, so do the players. It's all about getting minutes in the bank. But, you know, when you're out there, that competitive nature, it still stays with you. I know it's a friendly and I know it's pre-season, but you still want to win, don't you? You still want to score goals. There's no better feeling.
It was quite specific, you know, the first game out in Bangkok, because, you know, I never seen like 3 teams in one game, you know, so we have to take it like this. And today is another game, and I think the conditions are a little bit specific, you know. The team is traveling a lot, and, you know, different conditions like humidity and everything, so we'll see tonight, but I think the real pre-season starts next week.
Who's caught the eye for you?
Well, Harvey Elliott was doing some really interesting turns. I like him when he's turning the ball, going forward. You know. He's got nice touch. He was a little bit unlucky with the injury. He had a bad injury. So probably I can see him as a dark horse this season. I wish him really well, and fingers crossed that he'll be fine.
Young Chambers, left back, he done really well. First game against United. Harvey. I was just thinking there, you know, the Ox as well. There's players who use pre-season as well as, and we mentioned Diogo Jota, as you know, unfortunately he can't do that because of his injury. There are players who want to put food for thought in the manager's mind. You know, I want to start the first game of the season, and Harvey will be one of them. You know, the midfield, you know, it's going to get changed up this season, but they're all going to want to start the first game. It's gone away from that 3 probably defensive players, hasn't he? Now he's putting more of an attacking forward into that midfield. So that means Harvey, Curtis, young Carvalho. He looked sharp, didn't he, the other night? So there's plenty of players vying for that one position. Thiago, you throw into that mix. And they're all trying to impress the manager. So the Ox and Harvey have stood out.
You've been busy boys in Singapore. You've enjoyed it though, haven't you? It's been a great trip. You love seeing each other. You love coming up and seeing the Reds as well.
Yeah, it's been great. Great trip so far for us. You know, we had a lot of meetings with the fans, partners. Quite busy. You know that. But we enjoy it. You know, it's after a long time we got a tour like this because of the COVID, and hearing the fans are crazy. There's a lot of fans here in Asia, especially Singapore, Bangkok. Yeah, it was fun. It's been fantastic.
Apparently they call it work, but it just doesn't seem like that at all. It's just, you know, we get looked after so well. We love working with you guys. The team behind the team does an amazing job. It's 140 staff here with players, and you know we all get on. We all share, you know, stories, and it's just fantastic to be around it.
It's been great to see you, Vlad. Thanks for joining us here pitch side, and we'll be back, of course, after the game to catch up with the players and the manager as well.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, we should just touch maybe on Darwin Nunez. He's the player. There's so much excitement around this pre-season. There's an expectation. Do supporters need to give him a little bit of time to bed in, find his feet, adjust to the way this team plays? Because there's an intensity at Liverpool that isn't at all the teams.
Yeah, but the intensity is not just in the matches, is it? It's also in the training. So for some people it takes longer than others. And I think if you look through the history of the players that Klopp have signed, and all of them have been different, some have been quite prepared from day one to go in and be able to cope with the work, whereas others you've had to wait a little bit longer. I mean, Robertson was a perfect example when he came down, isn't it? People saying, why isn't he playing? They were obviously preparing to be able to produce what he's producing now, isn't it? What I like about, and we said this after the United game the other day, they kind of let him play against United, and then they will pick that game apart and sit down with the players, and they would have sat down with Nunez and gone, listen, this is what we want you to do, and this is exactly what we're hearing that he did in the training session yesterday, you know, to adjust his runs to suit the way the Liverpool play.
Yeah, they'll certainly get the best out of him over the course of time. OK, once again, before we head to the break, if you are not a subscriber yet to LFC TV or Go and you want to see the action from Singapore and all the remaining pre-season games, just head over to our website. Subscription is required. We're going to take a short break. All the action is on the way next.